How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the Shaun Attwood channel. We are live and we are going into what has been going on with Charlie Kirk. All right. I've tried my best to stay away from asking some odd questions, but I just can't anymore. Like it's beyond a joke at this stage. So there's some texts and some footage that I want to go over. All right. Then there is 2 episodes of Piers Morgan that we need to look at, and it really sets the stage for what we've been witnessing in videos, in shorts, in people's reportings of the between the left and the right, and this woke movement and the mindset of unaccountability that seems to have flourished. And we're going to take a look at that. Now, what else are we talking about today? Where are we? Jimmy Kimmel, his situation and what happened there, and a Twitch lawsuit that includes the CEOs of Twitch and Reddit that is all about extremism. And this all ties together with what is happening. Okay, hang on a second. 1 second, MJ. 1 minute. I actually want to find out what you're talking about. So just give me a second. Virginia. Finally, interview. 60 minutes. It depends whose 60 minutes it was. "60 Minutes Australia." Okay. 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 Is it this one?
A toy to be used
and dangerous.
I got out of it.
Is it this one?
Escape, but it was an escape.
Oh, wait, hang on. This is Virginia Jeffree's diary revealed, right? Oh, whoa. This is the one. Whoa. Oh. You can expect a live on this tomorrow. Thank you for pointing that out. Because there's been something on my mind with Virginia and the rewriting of legacies, the washing of history, and the individuals that have been involved in her case since the beginning. We've seen nothing but further suspicious activities surrounding the Epstein case, the Epstein files, all of it. I've got a 283-page PDF here that is a book that was made for this man's birthday. Now, there's a certain degree of writing off that we have to contend with. The fact that this man hadn't been, that's not what we're here for. We'll get to all of that. But that's not what we're here for, right? So first thing I want to talk about today is we're going to get to the good stuff at the end, right? The real juicy stuff. But Jimmy Kimmel, I mean, this guy, he's no joke. I mean, he was a serious personality. And making the remarks about Charlie Kirk's passing has yet cost another person their job, their livelihood, their career. And it really actually, there's new options here. If I just do this, what? Yes. So the fact that high profile individuals aren't getting away with voicing this disgusting mindset of celebrating the death of a man for having political discussions, let alone the fact that it happened in front of his wife and his kids, let alone the fact that it happened in front of 4,000 students, and let alone the fact that the story that we're being told is a little bit, but we'll get to that too. So let me just jump to a little news report here. 1 moment, please. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Here we go. Jimmy Kimmel taken off air over Charlie Kirk comments. ABC has pulled the late night host Jimmy Kimmel's off air indefinitely over comments he made about the shooting of right-wing influencer Charlie Kirk. Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely, a spokesperson for the Disney-owned network said in a statement. Earlier this week, Kimmel said during his show that MAGA gang was trying to score political points off Kirk's killing. Kimmel did not comment to the BBC as he emerged shortly after the announcement from the television studio in Los Angeles. Wild. And this is happening across the board, right? Now, there seems to be a divide in the ability to have a conversation or to understand the basics of debate between the two sides. Now, Piers Morgan, think what you want, say what you want, have your own opinion about Piers Morgan. But there's two interviews that we're going to look at, right? The first one, Charlie Kirk debate, causes guests to storm out, and then Charlie Kirk with Megyn Kelly, Jeffree Star, and Nancy Mace, they have blood in their hands. Now, this I just want you to just look. This guy here, right, has a look of slowly dying inside throughout this entire interview. But this guy here, Destiny, he is a very controversial former Twitch streamer, YouTuber, all of this stuff. He likes to debate extremists and people with extreme views. And he's been problematic for a while. Now, we're just going to, I just don't get. Just watch Destiny trying to communicate points here.
Can you actually answer? Can you actually answer? Hang on, calm down. I just got one question. I got one question for you, and I want you to actually answer it. Are you glad Charlie Kirk is dead?
No, I don't think anybody in this country should be dying to political violence. It's insane. The past 5 years in this country has been crazy. But the reality is, until conservatives,
so then why did you say to your co-host that Trump deserved the bullet? Why did you tell him that?
Until conservatives have to say, hey, we all need to be less violent, there's no purpose in Democrats doing it, because every time Democrats disavow, you further entrench your guys' delusional beliefs that all the violence is coming on the left. Donald Trump can go on TV. He can say, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. They can go on Parler and say, we heard you. They can go to the Capitol and break in and try to insurrect. They can get convicted in front of a jury, and then Donald Trump can pardon them, and we can come out and go, hey, guys, why aren't Democrats disavowing violence? And pretend that the problem is coming from the left. Democrats do a disservice to this country by disavowing violence constantly when the president of the United States
let me respond quickly.
And say all of us need to be less violent.
Destiny, so the thing is, why did you say to your co-host that the bullet...
This is the point. So Destiny rants out his point of view, and during the response part of it, Destiny just starts talking over this guy. This is a repeating pattern of communication warfare. I don't want stupidity, dumbassery. I don't know what you call it, but there is a clear mindset to not to disengage. Okay, every single other person on this panel is sitting, looking into their camera. Destiny is all over the place, and this is what I'm seeing on every single Charlie Kirk debate. Is you have one side who is sitting there trying to conduct themselves in a manner that is fitting not only of podcasts, but of what we would imagine polite society. And then you have these individuals who come on, word spout a whole bunch of madness, will not be allowed to have what they've said picked apart or questioned by anybody else on the panel or who they're discussing it with, because they choose to talk over them and be belligerent.
That the bullet was for Trump. Why did you say to your co-host that the best place for the bullet was Trump? Why did you say that?
This is not how conversations take place. It's madness. So Destiny, after this interview, went on to X and posted this little number. Okay, unreal. Elon Musk and other conservative just got me banned from Twitch. My entire income is gone now. So much for party of free speech. So This message that Destiny posted is from 2022. Is from March 2022. So he's left the Piers Morgan show, used an old message of being banned to then smear individuals like Elon Musk and who other, conservatives, whatever, so that he can stir up more hate towards these people. It's bonkers. It's bonkers to think that anyone can get away with these sort of things on the internet in 2025, first of all. But to go on and make statements that he's not going to disavow the death of Charlie Kirk because the president hasn't. It's mad. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about free speech and what is hate speech and how inciting violence isn't covered in free speech and all of these things. And the death of Charlie Kirk has created a wave where platforms are paying more attention now to what's going on. And this popped up the other day. Reddit and Twitch CEOs called to testify on radicalization. I'm going to give y'all, one guess who is I'm telling you now, who is at the center of Twitch's radicalization movement, the madness, because there is a man at the head of it all. And he has called for his subscribers to gut the politicians in the streets. Let their intestines hang out. Let the streets run with their blood. It is wild. It's wild. And there is a lot of discussion right now that the reason that Twitch's CEO has been pulled in is because of one man named Hassan Piker. And if any of you know who Hassan Piker is, the controversies, the documentaries, the clips, the madness that has taken place over the last 4 or 5 years with this man. And I can guarantee you, we are going to see a whole new realm of TOS rollout based off of radicalization and people using platforms to radicalize individuals for extremist views and actions. I'm very sorry, but in the space of a month, we have had a shooter go into a school with weapons and ammunition, with left-wing wokeism and trans movement iconography and words all over it, declaring that they want to murder Christian children. Then we have a Ukrainian refugee walking onto a train and apparently in a non-racially motivated attack has her life ended after the man says, "I got that white girl." Then we have the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It seems to me that there is a shocking pattern unfolding from what one side is willing to do in the name of their political side. Now, radicalization. You've got to understand, when people are referring to groups of people because of their politics as neo-Nazis, as fascists, as all of this, and they've got audiences of tens of millions of people, there's a likely percentage that some of those tens of millions of people are bonkers, right? And it takes very little to start a snowball effect that can lead to what happened on a train or what took place at a college or what seems to be happening more and more often around the world. Now, we're going to be covering some other bits and bobs on my channel a little later on this afternoon, and then we'll be back on the Shaun Attwood channel covering Kash Patel, Epstein, the Royals, and then Pastor Dave Part 2 tonight. Oh, yeah, sorry, Ukrainian. What did I say? So, yeah, I meant to say Ukrainian. What did I say? I can't remember. I don't know what I said, but yeah, she was a Ukrainian. I beg your pardon. Thank you, Stephen. So, at this point, if you guys can give me some likes and shares, I would very much appreciate it. Now, Where are we? Hang on a second. Okay, so the whole radicalization and extremist content is being picked up and is being clamped down on, which is good. But going back to this next part of Piers Morgan, this was, I think this was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And again, we've got this breakdown of communication that seems to happen when the host is removed from the discussion and panel members are left to try and debate between themselves. So let's have a look at this.
Who they are. We actually don't need to say
Don't all talk at once,
They're
please.
showing the
Can the
world
two
who
men
they
shut
are.
up for a moment? Gillian.
There are so many lies here. I don't know which to tackle first. The reality is that we are here because of the very things you guys are doing in this moment. You refuse to engage in any sort of intelligent dialogue or debate. You just name call. We're bigots. We're racist. This is exactly how we got here. This
is exactly what we're seeing across the board. Okay, if you can read between the lines, we're talking about America here, but there's a lot of this happening in places closer to home too.
of othering, this kind of demonization. If you guys want to have an intelligent conversation about something that I have said, something that Riley has said, or something that Charlie has said, I'm absolutely here for it. But in this moment, you are very clearly showing the world that you are an integral part of this problem. And it's irrelevant what side of the aisle you're on. It's a human characteristic of demonizing others, and you both have it.
All right, Riley.
Can I just?
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
Riley
I
will
would just
go
like the
next.
opportunity to defend myself for a second, because Brian, what you said is like the most ill-informed thing I've ever heard. Number one, to insinuate that I'm not a good athlete, as if that even matters. Okay, I'm one of the fastest Americans of all time. Can you name me 3 female swimmers?
The reason why I said nobody would know
Can you name
who
me
you are
3
because
female
you are
swimmers? If you're going to talk about how no one knew me,
No.
can you name me 3 of the top female swimmers in this nation or this world?
99% of the country. 99% of the country can't name 3 female swimmers. The only reason why we know who you are
precisely.
is because
So
you're transgenders 24/7.
why did my athletic ability, which again, one of the fastest in the nation and the world, really, for that matter, when I was competing, why did that have anything to do with anything? Are you saying only the best female athletes, only the best of the best, only those who are winning Olympic gold medals deserve fairness? Is that what you're saying? Make it clear to me, please.
What I'm saying is,
okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to continue on now to say that I have not served Christ
So
for
you don't
the
want me to.
Epstein
So you don't want me to
victims
respond
is
to your
ridiculous.
question.
This is a recent tweet that I put out that I got a lot of flack for. I said, I serve Christ, not a politician. That
Why
being
won't
said,
Donald Trump
no
release the
way
Epstein files?
we are going to act like the proven harm and abuse of Epstein.
I agree, right? Why won't he release the Epstein files? But that was a bit random.
Cause never happened. His victims deserve so much better than that. There is no line to walk when it comes to sex trafficking, especially of children. So to
Okay,
slander
Riley, may I ask you a
me
question?
and say that I have not been a voice for the Epstein victims is ridiculous.
Okay,
I
Riley,
have been a voice for
Riley,
the
may
women
I ask
in
you a
Muslim
question?
countries, in Afghanistan, in Yemen, in South Sudan.
See, this is the posture, the body reactions, and all of that of a man that has no interest in discussion. He's not listening. He's loading up his next load of sound bites to just unleash on these individuals
Who are under Sharia law, who don't get to get an education, who don't get to go to the gym, who don't get to go to the doctor. Like, I have been a voice for all these women. So to sit here and act like you know me, number one, is ridiculous and entirely defamatory.
Okay, Riley, can I respond? Okay, Riley.
Now that I'm done.
Understood.
Absolutely.
Let me ask. Okay, so Riley, when Donald Trump bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms on the Howard Stern show, are you willing to condemn Donald Trump right now on the program, or the fact that he's a liable sexual abuser and a 34-count felon? He bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms. If you care, which I believe you do, by the way, Riley, if you care about young women, are you willing to condemn Donald Trump for going into teenage girls' locker rooms without their permission?
I think any man who violates a woman's privacy, safety, fairness when it comes to athletic competitions is detestable and condemnable. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Hey, Pierce, this is why I bring this up. I'm so glad she said that. She went back to transgenders and she didn't answer my question. So I will try to ask it again.
I said nothing about
Are you willing to,
like, do you see what I'm saying? So I can understand how there's been this loggerhead for however long, because this isn't debate. This isn't how This isn't how we move forward, okay? And I'm not saying where everyone has to agree on everything, okay? But when the debate is whether or not a man should have been shot in front of his family, it seems to be a very clear-cut, easy argument that none of this should have happened. And for the left to keep shifting the focus to points that have validity in some situations, in some context, but have no relevance to the point of discussion. That's what starts making me cringe and making me think, what comes next? What comes next? Now, what's interesting is Jeffree Star's reaction to all of this went viral. Okay, now Jeffree Star's had his own controversies, a lot of which were linked to other people's poor tastes, shall we say. But when Jeffree Star was live, found out about Charlie Kirk, I think Jeffree Star said he lost 100,000 subscribers in a day because of what he said, and this is what he said.
About their beliefs, whether he believed them or not. Am I a Republican? No, I'm a person. Because I'm standing up for someone that passed away, I'm now being called names in the chat. This is what's wrong with a lot of you people. You will never get far in life. You are sick in the head. Someone just said they're unsubscribing from me. Thank God, please. Because if you believe in they and thems, you're part of the problem. If you're so stupid enough to go against science, please unfollow me.
Jeffree, what happened to you as a consequence of that going viral?
So about 100,000 people have unfollowed me this week for speaking about Charlie, the entire thing. I can't believe so many people in America are cheering and praising his death. It's honestly disgusting. So while I was live streaming, I found out about what happened in real time, and it was so horrifying and devastating. I followed him for a few years. Do I agree with everything he's ever said? Of course I don't. But I loved a lot of what he said, and it resonates with me. But the good news is hundreds of thousands of more people have followed me, and they're on the exact same page. So I don't care about the following. It's not about that. I just had to speak my mind.
Have you been surprised, shocked, depressed by the reaction? I mean, I'm genuinely stunned. I thought I'd seen everything in the news game going back 40 years. But to see the...
See, a lot of people were surprised, Vera, right? Because you look at Jeffree Star and you think like he's the manifestation of everything that the left stands for, you know? And he's an interesting one because he just sees himself as Jeffree Star. He's not claiming to be anything that he's not. He doesn't go against science or anything like this. This is just how he sees himself, and he's made a multi-million-dollar company out of makeup from it. But a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, it's a pink-haired person, you know, siding with Charlie. This is crazy."
Outpouring of gleeful celebration of a young man's murder for expressing his opinions, and a young man who would deliberately go into, you know, the opposition territory, college campuses, and get people to line up and say, "Come."
Well, no, there's no trans there, Freebie. That's the thing. He's not trans. That's the thing. Like he's not trans. He doesn't say that he's a woman. You know what I'm saying? He's just, this is how Jeffree Star sees himself. It's wild because we've been so conditioned to assume what we're looking at is someone who's transitioning and all the rest of it. When in actual fact, there's just a lot of people who look like either they're transitioning or are from like a 1980s glam rock band. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Come and argue with me in a respectful way. The idea that he gets murdered for doing that all the time seems
I get what you're
particularly
saying. People
perverse
are
to me.
people. You're exhausted with the left and the right. I hear you. It is exhausting. But sadly, you're stuck in a world of being exhausted, and these two monstrous forces are still going to be battling it out, whether you like it or not. I feel like we're standing at a pinnacle moment where we all kind of need to be paying attention. Give me a second. I think my door just went. Give me 1 second, everybody. Just bear with me. I'm going to leave the mic on just in case it's the Libyans. No, it was just the mail. It was just the mail. Right. So, where are we? We're here. Yeah, if you guys could like and share, that would be great. So, where was I talking about? So, yeah, Jeffree Star, the way that this has been treated as well, which is, it's just fascinating when people look like they represent something and then speak out in support of Charlie Kirk, and so many people who made assumptions unsubscribe and get this reality check. And that was another bit of Charlie Kirk news that's been everywhere. Now, we're going to get to the shooter and the text. That's not right. Have I covered everybody? I think that's everybody. So for me, this constant display of inability to communicate and debate that is taking place in front of our eyes on these shows is laughable. But it's quite scary to think that this is what the conversation is being made from. One side that seems to be in mourning and also desperate for real discussion. And the other side wants to scream and shout in the faces of those looking for this polite debate. Now, I've got some questions. I've got some questions about all of this. Okay? I got some questions.
Calling case
all right.
25140.
Let's just have a little watchy watch.
3576. State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
So, Mr. Robinson, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint an attorney to represent you.
Just in case you don't know, this suit that he's wearing here is a special suit that can't be torn apart, so that you can't Epstein yourself. So what is going on? Right. So let me get this right. This dude here climbed on top of a building with a bolt action rifle, assassinated Charlie Kirk, climbed down off the building with the rifle, fled to a nearby wooded place, rolled up the rifle in a towel, and left it there. Because I've seen you've all seen the footage of the black outline climbing down the building, right? You've then seen it walking across a road, right? Where was the rifle at this point? Where was the rifle at this point? Because it wasn't with that individual, I'll tell you that now. And I have seen footage this morning and arguments put forward this morning that wasn't Ron telling viewers to no, Ron was reporting on a guy on TikTok who is reporting people to their employers who were speaking out against the death and mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. So, Pod Save England, I'm going to slow this down for you, okay? Just because I know it's difficult, all right? And I'm here to educate. So, if you did not, because you see how he says people who didn't like Kirk. No, if you don't like Charlie Kirk, I completely support your right to say, hey, I disagree with what this man stood for. I disagree with the the views politically and religiously that this man had. That's okay. You're allowed to not like Charlie Kirk. What you're not allowed to do is go on the internet and mock and celebrate the assassination of a human being in front of his wife and children. And I've got a funny feeling a lot of employers will agree with me. Pod save England. So I hope that sinks in. You're allowed to not like someone. You're allowed to disagree. Inciting hatefulness or hate speech or celebrating someone's death by doing a little dance or whatever, it's your employer's choice. You don't have a right. This isn't a political, this isn't the government. It's not the government, mate, that you're getting fired from. You're getting fired from your job because of your yappa yapping. And hey, do you know what I'm saying? If your employer just so happens to think that you're a piece of shit for what you've done, and their brand that they've built up doesn't want to be associated with a shit, then tough. Neener. It's the definition of neener. Okay. Too many people around and then finding out. That's what it is. Anyway. Sorry to digress to educate the simpletons. So this guy here, apparently, right, done all this, planned it all by himself. And we then get reports of his flatmate, these text messages, and we need to get into this because this is wild. I did not plan on jumping in and questioning this until I seen a video. I can't find it, right? I will find it. I feel like it's still a little bit too... I don't think I would play it, right? Because there's a lot of different angles of the moment of impact, shall we say. Everything's kind of blurred out, but it's still a lot to look at. Because... No. You come in here and misquote me and try and stir up nonsense because you don't know what you're talking about and you cannot quote things properly and you want to make statements about me. Then, sir, I declare thee thy simpleton.
And his name
Yes.
is John C.
Yes. Goomba. Yes. All right. So, yeah, just quote me. If you don't want me to bust your chops, just quote me properly. That would be my idea, mate. So, but you know, don't take it personally. All right, don't take it personally. Okay, you misquoted me. You did a poor job of trying to talk about me. So now I get a bust your chops token. Okay, which should inspire you to quote me better. All right. So I seen a video today of another angle of the shooting where people are putting forward the argument that we were possibly seeing an exit wound. Okay. Because the video that I seen originally, all of the graphic things are on the left-hand side and Charlie falls that way. Okay. And the kind of the laws of motion would indicate that, right? I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. But the thing that was fascinating was they were arguing that they could see a muzzle flash. Okay. Oh, listen, honey bunny. Okay. Calm yourself down. It was an assassination, and you're definitely my mate. You're my new best friend now, pal. You're my new best friend. So stop being so hateful, man. Just relax. It's okay. All right? It's okay. I would feel bad as well if I realized the things that I stood for were being called out globally. And a movement and a mindset has finally been seen for what it is. Extremism. Yeah. Okay. So what looked like a muzzle flash. I mean, it was like a quick flash of white coming from the other direction caught on camera. And people are now saying they've caught frames of the bullet and all of this. It's mind-blowing, right? And I'm telling you now, ladies and gentlemen, I said to you all that we weren't going down the conspiracy road. We weren't going to start pulling this apart until Charlie was in the ground. I don't know if that's how things are going to pan out now. Because you know how Ron likes data, right? The data is telling quite a scary possibility for how all this happened, who's responsible, who had the most to gain, what's going on in the world right now, all the rest of it. But I believe that there is possibly a serious mishandling of information that has been picked up on by certain individuals that were surrounded by Donald Trump, who have started to question allies of America, what it is they're funding. And then you look at the more obvious side of things, what's going on with both sides politically. Because I'll be honest with you right now, the Epstein files, are we honestly thinking that if there was something that could have been used against the current administration within there, that it wouldn't have been released by the previous administration? Because we have to ask ourselves, if people are saying that Donald Trump is all over the Epstein files, would it not have been weaponized by the previous, Biden? So Ivy, let's just for a second. That would mean that in order for that information to not have been used by the previous government, they must have been told by somebody who has something on them that they can't do that. Right? Or is it a case of, well, we're all over it as well? Because the way that things have been handled since Trump came into power, we could have two ways of looking at this. We could be like, oh, I'm back in power now, cracks his knuckles, let's start getting to work on this. Kash Patel is gone on the Joe Rogan podcast and spoken for the first, nobody does this. No head of the FBI goes on a podcast. And then we've seen tweets from Elon. We've seen all this weird stuff. And we've had this declaration that there is nothing to worry about. Okay. Then we have this meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell that suddenly took place out of nowhere, which makes me think, if we're going back to the argument of if Trump is in there and the previous political party that was in power were blackmailed into not exposing it by an unknown third party, if I was Trump, I would be doing what I can, right? I would be doing what I can to release these files. But this conversation that took place with Ghislaine Maxwell that produced this 283-page document. I don't know if you've all seen that document. I have that document. Like, I have the full 283-page document that is the birthday book. And that could have been released a long time ago. But the long time ago that it could have been released, I don't see how any of this makes sense. I don't know why Ghislaine Maxwell wasn't interviewed right away. And all of this wasn't happening right away. So we're talking about 10 years, right? So it's just odd. We're going to be going into Kash Patel and all of that later on in our show. But I can't help thinking about the standard course of action when it comes to creating distractions and all the rest of it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think the true story behind what happened to Charlie Kirk is going to be a lot more for people to take in and come to terms with than we think. I could be wrong. Maybe it was a 22-year-old with, you know, a transitioning roommate who knew all about this, apparently. I mean, here's another thing. How, like, if you go on Discord and plan the downfall or an assassination, and then it happens and the person's arrested, how are you all not part of that? How are they not bringing in everyone? Because it makes me very suspicious when they go, okay, we got him, and they end it there. Why is the roommate not being pulled in? It's because he's admitted it. Why Valhalla? I had a bit of a rant about that the other day, Doctor. I'm not going to lie. I found it very, very offensive. Not only as somebody where Valhalla ties into their beliefs, but also the insulting nature of Charlie Kirk not going to his represented afterlife. It was wild, bro. Wild. Correct. We're talking about Keir Starmer, the man who was part of a Labour Party group that decided not to go and try and press charges against Jimmy Savile. Okay, this is the man we've got running our country. Oh, wait, hang on. Starmer's great. Nothing wrong there. We'll talk about that on my channel. But yeah, Valhalla. What a goomba. Now I want to go through these texts, all right? And we've taken the long way round. Oh no, this way. All right. Okay, so Robinson, drop what you were doing and look under my keyboard. When the roommate looked under the keyboard, there was a note that allegedly read, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. I had the opportunity. Interesting words, right? Interesting words. What? You're joking, right? 1 second. I'm still okay, my love. But I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this a secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after. Why? Why? We have to assume this guy has never seen a movie in his entire life. At all. No, they grabbed somebody, right? But most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out. But there's one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. How long Have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. A bit over a week? Aye? Oh, aye. Bit over a week, mate. Bit over a week. 100%. Sounds about right. Sounds about right, right? Sounds about right. I can keep it close, but to it, there is a squad car park right by it. I think they already swept that. Wait. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think because he was just hanging about. So you're telling me, right, this guy walked into a university wearing the same set of clothes, got up onto a rooftop with a rifle, wearing the same set of clothes, assassinated Charlie, shoved the rifle so far up his backside it could not be seen as he climbed down and moved across a road, okay? Somehow then pulled it from his backside with a towel, wrapped it up and left it in a bush, then fled the scene to subsequently return in the same set of clothes and waiting for 4 hours. It just seems mad. It just seems mad. It just doesn't make any sense. Like you take the rifle, you file all the numbers off of it, like you see in the movies. You go, get all that done, right? Then you soak it in whatever alcohol, whatever it is, to get all the DNA off. Buy some rubber gloves, and then you leave that. You leave that behind, bro. You leave that behind. No one's like, okay, you've already snuck it in. Sneaking it in must have been the worst. I mean, anyone that's trying to sneak her. If I said to you, there's a new TV show called Sneak a Rifle in a Place, right? And all you've got to do is a big plastic rifle broken down into pieces, and you've got to sneak it in somewhere to win the top prize. For a start, we're all watching that, okay? That's. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you've already snuck it in. Now it's redundant. Why are you sneaking it out, mate? Why are you sneaking it out? It just that's what makes sense in my head. That's what makes sense. Let alone packing a towel. Oh, I gotta keep it cozy. Don't want to. Gotta keep it nice and snug. Do you know what I'm saying? Mad. Well, here's the thing, right? When they talked about it was a Mauser, right? That's what was reported, a Mauser rifle. And when I Googled it, it looked a lot like when you were playing the Call of Duty Second World War game. It was wooden. It looked reliable. It had a magazine. But the one that was shown, right? I don't know much about guns. I don't know anything about guns. But it looked way more modern. Maybe it's a modern Mauser. I don't know. Then there's the caliber of the rifle. Now, the only rifle that I've got experience with are 2.2s, okay? Like the wee 2.2s for when I was in the Air Cadets and all that. Oh, and shotguns, right? But shotguns. And 2.2s, they're not exactly the most scary sounding thing when they go off, right? They're not quiet. But you ever heard like a rifle going off? Like a big boy rifle, like a this'll kill a deer rifle. They are loud. They are loud. You know, there's a reason why when you see hunters take a shot and miss, that's them over for the day. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the whole of nature just went, Billy's out again with his boomstick, you know? And that was the one thing that I was really questioning the day it happened, was the noise it made. Because it was like a doof and a crack. Anyway, let's get back to this. Sorry, I keep sidetracking. A bit over a week, I believe. A bit, maybe that's how long his memory was allowed to be active for when he was released from the CIA frickin' pit of Sarlacc. I jest. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. What level of Jack Bauer madness is it? You're doing an assassination and then you're nipping back to pick up your weapon 4 hours later in the same clothes when the police are everywhere. Nah, I'm not. Listen, I was just making fun about the MK Ultra thing. Like, obviously, this is. You could argue it. You could definitely argue it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I bring it back to If I bring back Grandpa's rifle. Again, right? Mauser, Sutton. The one I Googled looked like the one I looked at looked like Granddaddy's rifle. Do you know what I mean? But again, I don't know enough about it. I don't know if it had a serial number. I don't even know if it had a serial number. So if it's Grandpa's Mauser, that sort of gives me like historical vibiness to what he's saying. Again, maybe this is just moot points. But if it doesn't have a serial number, then to me, I imagine it's come from a place where that is not standardized for weaponry. Or it's from before a period of time when that was standardized in weapons in America, which gives an old vibe. But the one I've seen looked like a black carbon plastic rifle thing, like the butt and the handle part. So anyway, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Oh, you did change outfits. I didn't have the ability or time to bring it with me. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. You had a towel. You had a towel. You had a wipe. Oh man, like I'm not being funny. Like in the mindset of a normal individual, right? You must be thinking to yourself, like if I had to plan this out, you would be scrubbing fingerprint stuff, like checking your passport at the airport. You'd be like, oh my God, did I check that bit? Oh my God, did I do this bit? It's clearly his intentions weren't to get caught. Only thing I left was a rifle wrapped in a towel. Where did that rifle come from? Because you never brought it down off the roof, okay? Because it just doesn't happen. You can't just fold a rifle up and pop it in your pocket. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge uwu on Fox, I might have a stroke. A light. I'm going to have to leave it. That really sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I think it was a 2K scope. I don't know. The scope on it looked fairly box standardy, but again, I don't know anything about scopes. Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. What? Right, hang on. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds release photos of the rifle, and it's very unique. What? What? Hang on. What? How is it very unique? And why is it in a cardboard box? Like, Like, do you see what I'm saying? It could be a very old rifle. It could just be very dirty. But this black wood, or maybe I don't know. It doesn't look like a 2K scope either, but it's just, I don't get it. How is that a memorable? That is the most, like, I'm telling you now, right? That is the most box standard looking, like, I have just started playing DayZ and found a freaking box standard hunting rifle template. That is the least memorable gun I've ever seen. Least unique, least memorable. Ever. Ever. .net. Or am I wrong? America, you let me know. Okay? You let me know. Because it's just, I've got questions. I have got questions. Yeah, give me some likes and some subscribes. Everyone seems to be hanging out on Twitter watching this right now. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for a sheriff. I just think this is one of the maddest, one of the craziest displays of how bizarre conversations can be. But here's the thing. Charlie Kirk was a huge supporter and friend of Trump. There seems to be an underlying story grasping the world right now about individuals behind shady curtains, pulling strings, and creating a lot of the shenanigans that we see around the world. And the more we ask ourselves, what could Charlie have done to have upset the natural order of things that could have led to what took place? And sure, 22-year-old lone gunman is definitely a feasible analogy. Sure. You know, in this day and age, we long for the bigger story. We long for the conspiracy. Sometimes it is just a crazy guy. But when you sit down and have a look at everything, and I'm going to do that over the next day or two, is look into this muzzle flash, this alternative angles, the people that are standing around Charlie doing this, like literally macarenaing. And then you look at what tactical signaling is for the military, like all this stuff. It all has meaning. And it's just a little bit like, so then, if it's not a lone gunman, then it's someone's behind a plot, right? There's a bigger picture. So the simplest thing to do would be to look at the two main players involved in the fight Charlie was fighting in, right? The left and the right. And your brain instantly goes, oh. Yeah, Mr. Wonderful, I'm one of the co-hosts. How are you? I'm Ron. It starts painting a very questionable picture. Hang on. Ron, you mentioned, I think, Andromeda? I think that's meant to be a drone. Possibly. on the night it happened. Do you know where the photos proving a drone was there? But they say it was TP. Oh, wow. So no, what Ron had said was in 2025, governments and billionaires and sassy little countries, right? I know what drone technology is out there. I interviewed the FBI's former guy who was in charge of drone warfare and all of this. And we all know how AI algorithms work and how crazy AI's gotten, just on a level of what we're allowed to see, right? So the stuff we get ain't close to what's available, in my humble opinion. So if I'm a insane secret world government, right, and I want to take someone out the game, I'm just using a drone and a bit of AI script to judge the wind and velocity and all of this, and letting a human being take the fall for it. Why would I? Why, in God's name, would a criminal organization want to have a human loose end pulling triggers when they can send in the Terminators? Do you know what I'm saying? By the time you've seen this getting tested in a secret underground bunker somewhere in flipping wherever, and you know the drone comes in silently, and then like 1,200 meters away, there's just us, like one of those silicon zombie bodies, and you've got all the buyers waiting, and all they hear is, and then this dude just silicon zombie body gone. People are going to be buying that. They're going to be buying that. There's crazy people right now running around with silver suitcases handcuffed to their hands with the next germy germ weapon, because people are mad. I found an entire website on the dark web, right, on the run up to the lockdown period, that was selling multiple different strains of the bug we were all told to stay inside from. It was mad. It was mad. So trust me, okay? They've convinced us to walk around with a tracking device with a 4K camera and a high definition set of microphones in it, that you then go, actually, that's a good idea. I'm going to pay to have this tracking device on me at all times. That's where we've ended up, mate. That's where we've ended up. And we're all just sitting here like, oh, bad things can't happen. There's not murder drones. These things, of course they are. Of course they are. So, I didn't say there was a drone. It was one of my theories. But if you're saying there now was a drone, then... But here's another thing. You wouldn't see that drone. You wouldn't see the assassin drone. You just wouldn't. You just wouldn't, man. Like... Maybe you would. I don't know. I'm just theorizing. Who knows? But it's all just a bit mad. It's all a bit mad. Right. I have another live stream, I do believe, over on my channel in about an hour. I'm now at the stage where we need to be questioning absolutely everything about what is being released from anything that has Kash Patel's name on it, okay? Anything at all that Kash Patel says, okay, I want you to treat it like an individual who keeps... Wait a minute. Yes, it is. Watching people getting fired for talking crap about the death of Charlie Kirk is my new favorite thing. Yes, 100%. I stand by that. It is my new favorite thing. I watched 2 videos on it this morning. I love it when individuals think that their free speech includes inciting hate, celebrating death, and I love seeing people executing their freedom of choice when it comes to who they employ. And in the same way as my favorite thing to watch was left-wing individuals crying and shaving their hair off. I could have caught their little tears in a bowl when Trump was elected. 100%. Okay? Fuck around and find out, and people are. And I'm so here for it. And I will continue to advocate for anyone who wants to declare Charlie Kirk's death as a celebration. Their employers should have the right to make a decision about whether or not they want to be represented by that. Because we live in a world, people, where people with brain cells choose to make these statements on social media accounts linked to their entire real life. Wow. It's a beautiful thing. It's truly a beautiful thing. Truly is a beautiful thing. And then you've got individuals, of course. Some of them don't want to use their real face. They don't want to put their real names to their opinions. And you have to understand, you can't take these people seriously. Right? Individuals, if they want to criticize you behind a fake name and an avatar, okay, I'm going to take you real seriously. Fruitcakes, barmy, bonkers, nonsense. What are you so scared of? Get your face out, get your name out. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. I'm going to start putting together the video clips of that starts to tell a different story to what we're being told. Do I think I'm ready to point fingers as to who's in charge of it all? No. But I think all of us can learn that sometimes in this world, there are bigger pictures. And sometimes in this world, you can be on one side, living a life, living your life. And then it just takes one sad realization that there are individuals out there who are non-corruptible, who are not able to be bought and controlled. And when their sights get set on on areas that have certain ties to royals, world powers, all of these things, we have to ask ourselves about timing and what really took place. Our guts are usually right. So look, catch me on my next show, 2:30 over on my channel. Then we're back here 4:30 on the Shaun Attwood channel. And I'll see you all here. See you in the next one. Peace, guys.